my name is Hope and welcome back to my channel. I like musicals, they're every part of my life, and today we're going to be talking about Scamilton. Now, Scamilton is basically the 2022 version of Illegal Heathers, and it's great because it's awful, but it's also kind of good. So like, you're in this weird place of like, this is sheer oddness of brilliance and awfulness all at the same time. And I understand that was a terrible explanation, but you're just gonna have to deal with that. But yes, a Christian church put on Hamilton, they changed a couple of the lyrics, and then Hamilton found out about it. And they weren't happy. So that's what this video is about. So, without further ado, let's get into it. But before I get into this video, remember that you can like, subscribe and turn on notifications so you can get notified every time I upload, which is particularly every Sunday, but sometimes extra days in the week as well. Apparently over 90% of my viewership is not actually subscribed, so what are you doing? Subscribe right now. I'm just joking, you don't have to do that. But also remember, you can follow me at all my social medias, which is HopeWilsonX on Instagram, HopeWilson with 2 N's and an underscore on Twitter, and HopeWilson45 on TikTok. But with all that, let's get back into the video. So essentially, if you haven't heard of the TikTok sensation that is Scamilton the musical, a church located in McAllen, Texas, called the Door Christian Fellowship Ministries, put on a production of Hamilton illegally. So something you might not know is when you want to perform a show, whether that's in school or in an amateur theatre or in a professional theatre, you need the rights and you need to buy the rights for the show. And the McAllen church said they had the rights. Spoiler alert, they didn't have the rights. In fact, nobody has the rights because the only productions of Hamilton that are going about are the professional productions of Hamilton. This church could also definitely not afford the license for Hamilton because if there was one, it'd be hella expensive. And even when you have a license, there are certain things that you can and cannot do. For example, when you obtain a musical license to perform a musical, you cannot add anything in, take anything out, or edit or alter the show. The only exception to this rule is when you contact the licensing body and ask them if you can add or take or alter a certain lyric or a certain part of the show with their permission. For example, I did a production of The Sound of Music, and the song I Have Confidence, which is in the film, is not in the musical. And the theatre I went with went to the governing licensing body, which was MCI Europe, I want to say, and asked, can we add this song in? And they said yes. And I think they did have to pay a fee for that, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm assuming they did. But that's kind of the way it works. And boy, did the McAllen church not listen to that at all. So there were multiple lyric changes, such as this. But I am not afraid, my hope is in Jesus. And this. I introduce hundreds of children to Jesus as they're growing up. And also, apparently, there was a sermon, a genuine Christian sermon, added in to the end of the show, which condemns homosexuality. Why? First off, why? Like, there is no reason to do that, because it's not a sin to be homosexual. It's not, right? And number two, of all shows, Hamilton, known for having diverse casting, striving for diverse casting. The guy who won Tony for writing the musical literally finished his Tony speech with love is love is love is love. And then changed it. I don't get it. But what was going through their heads, I don't know. But something did. And you may be thinking, how did people find out about this? Because in my head, I can't see someone who was at that church production filming on a teeny tiny phone being like, it's the Christian version of Hamilton. And people being like, yeah, I want to watch that. Well, they didn't have to because they posted the entire thing on the internet. And just to say, I think this is like another broken rule in like licensing, that you need permission to upload it to the internet as far as I'm aware. But they did it anyway. And then people found out about it because then people started posting it on TikTok. And then it never goes away. But it went viral. It went insanely viral and everyone found out about it and then there was no going back. But with that, Hamilton themselves, the musical, and Lin-Manuel Miranda, found out about it. And essentially they performed 2 performances. I think one was live streamed and that was what they uploaded. And Hamilton basically obviously asked them to please take it down. But they let them go on with their last performance. And so you're there like, what? Why do they do that? And I think it's because it's like a church and they were like, we don't want to be mean, people have paid money, we'll be relatively nice by it. But they did send a cease and desist. Now I didn't didn't know what a cease and desist was, so I googled it. And it's essentially a letter being like, hey, you've stolen all our content and broken many, many laws on copyright. Don't do it again and do it under our rules. Yeah, they didn't do it under their rules. And also with the cease and desist letter, they were basically like, you can only do this one more performance, no filming it, no doing this, no doing that. It was like very restrictive on what you could do. So it was obvious that legal action was like happening, but obviously we won't know anything about that. And the church has just like not commented on it at all. I will say people have also found that the same church did an illegal version of The Greatest Showman. The Greatest Showman doesn't even have a license available because it's not a show, it's just a film. And I will say, it's like majorly illegal and so wrong on so many levels. Like, I will say that some of it's okay. You know, everyone said the costume and the set design's really good. It is just a direct rip-off of the Broadway version, and I think it's pretty obvious you can tell that. And some of the singing's okay. I do say some, not all. But it's just the fact that if they didn't post it on the internet, they would have got away with it. Illegal Hamilton would be happening and no one would be any the wiser. I also saw this TikTok which had a girl who was actually part of the church a while ago talking about the entire situation. And I think you should go and watch that, but I'm going to kind of summarise some of the stuff that she said there. But basically, don't send hate to the performers in it, because really what they did wasn't wrong, essentially. These adults knew what they were doing, they knew they didn't have the license, they changed the lyrics to make them Jesus-ified, and they're the ones who've done something seriously illegal here. I do think the fact that they've changed the lyrics is seriously bad. Whether they're your beliefs or not, that's someone else's creation, and you can't just change it to make it how you want it. And while I know I'm poking fun at some of the harmonies and some of the lyrics in it, I do just want to say, like, while the togetherness isn't great, some of the individual performances are actually half decent. Like, if you've seen some of it, like, some of it's actually really good, and if they had training, maybe it would be like 10 times better, and they actually have like a good quality performance the whole way through. And the fact is, with Hamilton, it's a vocally difficult show. Like, those Skylar sister harmonies, they're hard. It took me like 2 weeks to learn that, which for me is a long time. I understand that I'm not making my point very well by saying that. I'm not saying that the people in this are bad singers, because they're actually not. They're just given material that they can't do and shouldn't do. Do you know what I mean? Apparently also, this is just an aside and it's just crazy to me, apparently Eliza and Hamilton are married. The people who play them, and they're 19. It's just so crazy to me. I'm 19. I've never dated anyone. Like, actually can't even imagine doing that. I mean, showmance is great, but it stresses me out. But you know, legal action is being taken on them. And essentially, you know, it's the adults to blame in this show. It's the adults' fault. And honestly, I'm not afraid my hope is in Jesus. It's genuinely still in my head after about 2 weeks of knowing of this. But you know, please don't send hate to the performers. They are people. I know that the one who played Eliza was the pastor's daughter, but is that any different to every other theatre having a favourite? No. Is it the kids' fault? No. It's the well-knowing Christian adults. It's their problem. And I'm saying, because they're Christian, it's their fault. No, but they shouldn't have changed it to make it all about Jesus, because the show is not called Jesus, it's called Hamilton. So you catch my drift. But I think that's all the information that you need to know and that I have. So thank you for watching this video. You can like it if you liked it. Subscribe down below if you feel like it. All that stuff. You can find me on all my social medias, which will be here. I need a new graphic for this, but there's not really much I can do about it because I can't draw. That's the best attempt I have at drawing. So thank you for watching this video. Keep enjoying musicals as much as me, and I'll see you in the next one.